pretty excited this morning. We had a subscriber named Brandon and his wife send us this amazing bun coffee maker. Can you believe that? Brandon, I can't thank you enough, man. I was blown away whenever Claudia brought this back from the post office. It's pretty close to the exact same version that Jimmy Plant had in his shop whenever I was working for him. And it was just a joy to get this thing set up and be able to make coffee so easily, especially this morning, Monday morning, be able to make coffee in a minute and a half. So good to go. Thank you, Brandon, so much. And now if anybody comes to the shop, if you guys want to come down and visit, we won't have to stare at the Mr. Coffee coffee pot while it burps and gurgles and makes its noise and takes 45 minutes to make a pot of coffee. I'll probably throw that in the trash now because I've got this. Thank you again, Brandon. I appreciate it. Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful pot of coffee. I feel like I'm at the local convenience store where I usually get coffee. Look at that. Boom. Man, that's cool. Pretty excited about that. All right. Morning, everybody. Episode 3 of the Monday morning briefing videos. I'm enjoying doing these. You guys seem to like them, so that's great. I've gotten a lot of really good feedback on this video, this type of video, and so we'll try to work more and more in. We're going to continue doing it every Monday, so that's fun. I got here around 7 o'clock, and that's pretty early for me because by the time I get the kids up to go to school and all that stuff, I can't get here. You know, years ago, I'd get to the shop at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning if I had something really I needed to work on, but these days I don't usually get here that early. I've got too many other things going on, and frankly, I'm tired, and I like to lay in bed and drink coffee. Another thing that I got this morning, there's a little store here that makes kolaches. And I got these for breakfast for my wife and I. 2 of these are sausage and cheese, and the other 2, which I'm hoping she doesn't want because they're my favorite, are boudin. I know it's really not called a kolache because technically I think a kolache is the ones with the sweet stuff in them. And then these have meat in them, so they call them something else. I never can remember the name. I've got a friend of mine, him and his wife, she is actually Czech, and she gets on to me all the time, used to years ago, all the time, because I call them kolaches, and really they're not kolaches. So, but I can't remember the name. So if you know the name, comment below, and then I'll know you know what I'm talking about, even when I say kolache, because some people don't even know what a kolache is. But if you haven't ever had a kolache, if you're in an area where they don't have those, they're not available, culturally it's just not a food there, you need to go find some place that has them because they are delicious, even the fruit ones. And I don't eat a lot of sweet stuff, but the fruit ones are really good, and they make a bunch of different kinds. But the meat ones are my favorite, and that's what I got for breakfast this morning, so my wife ought to be excited when she gets here. Unless I eat them all before she gets here. We'll see how much time I've got before she gets here, if I can get all 4 of them ate. Little update from last week. I've got the knife scabbard video. Somebody was asking, hang on, let me grab a pattern. Somebody had asked me if we were going to be, if this knife scabbard video that I mentioned in the Monday morning briefing video was going to be for fixed handled knife. It's not going to be that. The fixed handled knife video will be coming here shortly. I've got a special knife I want to make a sheath for, and I thought that'd be a great video to go ahead and do a project type video. But when we do that video, there will not be a pattern pack, because every fixed handled knife blade that you make or knife sheath that you make for a fixed handled knife is going to be different. Every knife that you get, you're going to have to pattern up. Now if you're buying a fixed handled knife, a certain one, and then making sheaths to go with that and to resell as a set, then you can definitely pattern those up. But from my experience over the years, because we've built a bunch of fixed handled knife sheaths, every knife you get is going to be different. So there's really no use in making a pattern. You can make just kind of like a arbitrary pattern that's kind of just like a block piece where you can cut out a chunk of leather, and that will work for most knives depending on blade length and width. But I still want to do the video because I want to show you how I go my process from starting with a fixed handled knife, and then how do I get my pattern down, how do we pattern up that project. And so we will do a video for that. I think it'll be interesting. I think you'll find it really good, just to be able to watch as I do one. Even though there's not going to be a pattern pack associated with that, you'll still be able to take that information and then make a knife sheath for any knife. Basically, there's just some nuances and some subtle differences from knife to knife depending on the blade shape. but we'll get into that in the video. This knife sheath video that we'll have coming out hopefully this week. I'm running a little bit behind on it because we had a lot of stuff going on this past week. But I have the knife scabbards done. They're all done. The shooting's done. All we've got to do is create the pattern pack and edit the video. So hopefully this week we'll have that out to you. But it's for the fold over style. I showed this in one of the other Monday videos, but basically it'll come with a pattern pack that has this pattern right here, and there'll be all the different tooling windows. I use 3 different tooling windows. One for like a small eye brand or a sod buster, and then one for a case trapper. A double blade case trapper is going to be your most popular pocket knife size that everybody carries. It doesn't necessarily have to be a case. It could be a Moore Maker or some other brand, K-Bar or something like that, but it will fit that. And then also the eye brand, the large eye brand. But basically that knife sheath, you'll fold that over, you'll put a rivet so that you have your belt loop right there for your belt to fit through, and then this folds around and you sew beside your window, or you braid, or you lace, or you buck stitch, or whatever you're gonna do. So it's more of the fold over style. It is not a fixed blade knife sheath. I just wanted to clear that up because I had a few people email and a couple people ask, and they thought that was the type of video that was coming, and that's not, but there is a video like that coming. I just don't know exactly when I'm gonna get that one started. But this video will be out hopefully this week, and we'll get that done. We've just been kind of working on some other projects. One was a Chap making video. I had a lot of good response from that for the Chap. It was just a short video, and everybody on there, everybody, and I knew that was going to happen. That's why I've kind of put off the Chap making videos, any kind of tips or anything like that, was because I knew everybody's going to want a full project video. At the moment, I have no way of making a pattern pack for that. So I'm gonna do some more video probably of cutting the fringe on this pair that we're making. If you haven't seen that video, go check that out, because I'm showing you how to use the measurements that you take off a customer. I'll probably also do a video on how to measure somebody, like how we actually measure, so that you'll know how to get good measurements and stuff. And I'll go ahead and do a full project video of Chaps. I don't know when it'll be. I'll probably just make a pair for my wife or something, and that way we can go through the entire process and show you how to do that. But the problem is making the pattern pack. I've got a printer that we're working with that we're hoping to start getting some physical packs made that'll be like the old style fold out patterns, where they'll be larger format that we can just mail out to you, because you don't have any way of printing this off. I know a lot of y'all have sent me information and said, oh no, you can do it in Illustrator and you can set it up with all this where they cut it out and piece it together. That's too complicated. I just want to print it out on large format paper and mail it out to you if you want it, and then that way you've got it. You know it's the right size. You don't have to print. You don't have to wonder if the printer settings are off or something like that, because we get a lot of calls on, you know, oh, it didn't print out the right size or whatever. Everybody's printer is different. I have the same trouble in my shop. So the digital packs are great for the smaller items, but when I get into these bigger projects, I really just want to do physical packs. So that's what we're going to do. But I'll show you kind of on the Chaps how far we got last week. We got the top rolled, and so you can see there I pinked this. You don't have to. You can sky that down and roll it to the inside and sew it if you'd rather have it cleaner looking. I think the pinking gives it a nice accent. And then we put our wear leather on here, and then that all sewed at one time, and then that's where our buckles will mount there for the leggings. And so that's ready to go. And then I've got all the pieces. I've got our yoke and our side panels cut out, and so we'll get those tooled this week hopefully and start putting those together. Once the yoke and the side panels are tooled and dyed and antiqued and everything else and edge dyed and all that, then we'll sew those on. Then we'll start to do the fringe, and then after that we can install buckles and do the buckle straps and the back belt and front belt and all that stuff. So they go together pretty quickly after you've got everything tooled. They really go together fast. Chaps are kind of daunting. Most people, when they look at a pair, building their first pair of leggings, I know I did, it's kind of like, man, that's a big project. I hope I can get it done. Hope they fit, all this. After you build a couple pair, they go pretty quickly. They're just large, but they're not really hard to build. They're probably, honestly, they're probably one of the easier projects to build, especially if you're starting out, is a pair of leggings. That's why I did the measurement video, because that's really the only hill. Like, that's really the only catch on building a pair of Chaps, is getting good measurements for one, and then actually cutting your leg bodies out correctly so that they fit properly. We've done alteration after alteration on Chaps and different types of leggings and stuff, and it's really, really frustrating when you build a brand new pair and then they don't fit properly, and then you've got to go back and tear apart brand new work to make them fit, and that's frustrating as heck. So I want to try to get ahead of that if any of y'all are trying to build Chaps. And like I said in the video, there's a ton of people that are way better at building chaps than I am. I've built a lot of leggings over the years, but there's some people out there, the craftsmen, that's what they specialize in, and so they may have watched that video and said, "No, man, I don't measure like that. I can show him a little easier way," and I would love to learn. I'm not saying my way is the only way by any means. As usual on all my videos, there's more than one ways to skin a possum. You know what I mean? Another thing we got going, we got a belt done. If you're following my Instagram stories, we started buck stitching this. I petered out about right there. I got it about right there to right there, and I'm gonna let Claudia do that today. She's all excited. She's excited about doing buck stitch. If you've done buck stitch, you know she'll be wore out of doing buck stitch by the time she finishes this belt. But buck stitch looks good. It's popular. It's coming back. We do quite a bit of buck stitch. This belt right here is going to look really cool with the white and the white lettering on there. So we're going to get her started on doing that today. And I think she's buck stitched a little bit for me in the past. I've brought some stuff home and she's helped. She just kind of likes doing all kinds of stuff when it comes to leather work. So she's kind of diving in and playing with whatever, trying this, trying that. So we're going to let her work on that today, and that'll take that off my plate so that I can get some skirts put on our saddles. That's what we got to do on these. I've got to get 2 sets of skirts on. I got to get a front on this other tree and get it going, but I did get a new tree in this week too. We got another hog tree in, and this is from Billy Hog Saddle Shop in Arkansas, and this tree just came in last week. It actually came to our old address, so it was actually shipped to the farm where we used to live, and Claudia had to haul some horses up there to get their feet done, and so she was up there, and it happened to be waiting in the office there at the farm, so she brought it back. So we'll put it in the stack because we can't get it started just at the moment. So, but a lot of people ask me where I get my trees. I get them from Ray Lewis predominantly. He builds most of my trees, and I've started getting 2 or 3 a year maybe from Hog Saddle Shop, and I like them. They're really good trees. I just don't have a big call for it, so usually only if a customer requests it, then I'll kind of go with that, and a lot of people do. A lot of people love the tree, and that's what they want, and so he's gracious enough to offer trees to the public, you know, because he's probably got plenty of work himself. He doesn't need to really sell his trees, but the fact that we can get one from Mr. Hogg is a great deal, so we really appreciate that, and got that in the shop, and so we'll put it in the pile and get started. I'm already working this one over here. This one roper's on a hog tree too, and then the other ones are Ray Lewis. I also get a few from Precision Saddle Tree, and if you're just starting out building saddles, or you want to build your first saddle, whatever the case may be, Precision Saddle Tree down in Yoakum, Texas, is one that we've used for years and years, and they're really good trees. They're not the cleanest tree in the world, but they're very good as far as the way they fit, the way they're put together. Like I said, cleanliness wise, you can kind of pick on them about that. As far as the tree itself, it's a good tree we've built on. It's actually one of my most popular trees for certain older customers. Older meaning they've been with me longer, and so they were riding those years ago, so they don't want to switch. And so for those customers, if they request Precision, that's who I go with. But most of my customers now, I've got them converted over to the Ray Lewis trees, and I really, really like them, and so they're fitting really well. But we still build a fair amount on the Precision tree as well. So if you're looking for something like that, they're fairly priced, they're fairly quick turnaround, and so give them a call. Again, they're in Yoakum, Texas, and they're more of a manufactured type tree, but they do a decent job, and we've got a lot of saddles on them and don't have any trouble with them. Claudia just got here and she's stealing my kolaches. I'm not excited about that. So here's one cool thing that we got to work on last week was a pack saddle. This is actually the very first pack saddle I've ever worked on. But this guy here locally, they're going elk hunting up in Colorado, and so they brought us their pack saddle, and he said his dad actually built the tree, and then the leather that was on it was just really, really dry rot, and they'd already broken a couple straps on their last outing, and so they had patched up with some hay string and stuff just to get off the mountain. And so he brought it over here, and instead of just replacing what was broke, I felt it was easier, considering the age of the leather that was on here, which was all the same age, and he already broke some. We just went ahead and replaced it all. We replaced this with Herman Oak harness leather, best harness leather I've ever used, and so that's what I always use. That's my go-to on harness leather. And so we replaced it all. I've never worked on one of these before, so it was a lot of fun. This is the only pack saddle that I've ever seen I may have seen one here or there, but this is the only one I've thoroughly worked on and been around, and so I'm assuming they're all pretty similar. I don't know, but it actually went together really well. It's really neat. So I would like to see how this hooked up on a horse and kind of just see, you know, harness. I've got a little bit of harness experience. When I was in college, we fed with a team of horses at A&M and on the horse farm there, and that's where I worked when I was in college, and we fed with a team of horses, and so that's about the limit of my harness experience. But I'm really interested in that and would like to get into more draft type horses and stuff like that later, and obviously get a little bit more experience and learn more about it. I don't know that I'll ever want to make a complete harness set, but I'm sure it would be interesting. It's just a lot of strap work, and that's what I've noticed with any kind of harness work. It's all just strap goods. So if you like doing strap goods, harness work's pretty well going to be right up your alley, because that's really all it is. There's some collar work and stuff that requires a little bit more tools and different processes and stuff that as a saddle maker I probably don't have a lot of experience with. But as far as the strap work, it should be pretty well the same as anything else, you know, as far as building straps, just getting good measurements and stuff. But that's something that we did last week that was a lot of fun, and got that thrown together. And so now he's ready to go. I believe he's leaving this week, so I was hoping he would have got it this weekend so that we could make sure that all my measurements were correct before he just gets up to the mountain and finds out something's too short. But hopefully he'll be by here this morning to pick that up, and maybe I'll get lucky and he'll bring me some elk shanks back, or I don't know, maybe some elk backstrap. Probably not, but I'll take the shanks over backstrap any day. But if he, we'll see, maybe he'll bring me a little gift. Do not let your water, for your case water, get like this. I haven't cased anything up in a bucket in a while, and so we've got to change this out today because I've got to put skirts on, and so they're going to get cased up, and that water is no bueno. It's gonna stain the leather, as dirty as that is, so be sure you keep your case water clean. I normally do, unless I don't use it for a couple of weeks. Then it gets like this, and when you've got a 5-year-old little boy that likes to put leather in there and toys in there and dirt and whatever else he may run across gets inside this case bucket, and so we've got some mystery scum in here that we've got to get out of here and wash this out so that we can do our skirts this week as well. So that's just a little tip. Keep your case water clean, whether you're using a bucket or I wish this thing was piped in with a drain and water and stuff. I'd just make it fresh every morning. But yeah, be sure your case water is clean so that you don't stain your leather when you're tooling, forming, or doing anything else. Something else that we got done was these wallets. These are for a good customer. We make him quite a few wallets every year. I think he gives them to gifts as gifts to his customers and stuff. I believe he's in the oil field and stuff. But anyway, we got those 3 done. So we just got to put some edge dye on there and put the clips in, and they're ready to roll. So we'll get those shipped out today or tomorrow. And we've sold out of our little pancake scabbards on the website, so we're making just some inventory as we can. So I've got a few of them sitting on the bench to where I'm just tooling them, and Claudia's dyeing them, and we'll put them together as we get time. And that way we've got those on the website. So we're just trying to stay ahead of everything. That's really all I got for you today. We've got some bigger projects coming in this week. What you hunting for? How did you make a mess?
The lid wasn't on very well on my Starbucks coffee.
And you shook it?
A little bit.
She spilled her coffee everywhere. It's like playing cards with my brother's kids. So that's all I really got for y'all today. We did restock the caps on the website. We got some more in last week. We've got some more coming as well. I want to thank everybody that's purchased the cap from us. We really appreciate it. Hope everybody enjoyed their time there at the Wichita Falls Boot and Saddle Makers Roundup. I haven't been to that show in probably, I bet it's been 10 years or so, just because I used to go every year, and then we started showing at the Red Steagall Cowboy Gathering there in Fort Worth years ago, and we did that for I think 3 or 4 or 5 years, something like that. And I think that's the one that coincided with the Wichita show, and so we ended up having to not go to that. It may have been the U.S. finals, I can't remember, but something interrupted us being able to go to the Wichita deal. It may have just been too close to us leaving for a show and trying to get ready for that. But so we haven't been in quite a while. I honestly forgot that it was this past weekend, and so by the time I remembered about it and found out about it and stuff, we had already had stuff planned here. I would have loved to have gone to the show and seen everybody and see what all the vendors had and stuff like that. But hopefully next year we can get out and about a little bit more and come to that show. I'd love to come there and maybe teach a class or two, or maybe just have a little drawing session where we sit around and drink coffee and doodle or something, you know, and just draw and do that. But I hope everybody had a good time. I hope they made some good deals. Hopefully you came back with your truck bed or your trunk full of leather and supplies and stuff like that. That show's really dangerous whenever you go. I advise, it's kind of like going to Vegas or going gambling. I advise taking a budget in your pocket, and that way when that's gone, you're done, because otherwise you walk around there with your debit card, you get home and you can't make rent. Been there. It's a really easy to spend quite a bit of money because they have such good deal, and all the stuff is right there. And that's really the only opportunity that we have to really go somewhere and put our hands on the actual product, because most of the time we're ordering, you know, online or ordering through a catalog or calling a sales rep and ordering it, and the first time we get to see it is when it comes to our shop. So I really enjoy poking around that show and getting to see all the new tools and the new leather and stuff like that. But hopefully you went, and if you did go and hopefully you had a good time and enjoyed it and stuff like that, and got to hang out with some friends, and I'm sure the nightlife was good there. Like I said, I haven't been there in quite a few years. Hopefully next year we'll get to go all to the Waco show. I know they had that scheduled, and we were supposed to be at that show, but they ended up canceling it because of the coronavirus. And so next year will be the first one, and we will be there for that one. So that's all I got for you this week. Be sure and visit dgsaddlery.com if you're looking for any kind of patterns. If you haven't already, signed up for the Leathercraft newsletter, and be sure to subscribe to this channel. I appreciate y'all. We'll see you next week. I've got a little update too coming soon on the podcast. We are doing it, and I've got everything set up. We've actually got one episode already recorded. We may go ahead and do another one to replace that one, I don't know, but I want to get a few of them done, and that way you've got more than one to listen to, and then we'll kind of launch it. There'll be something in there in the newsletter about that, so be sure and sign up for that, and we'll keep you updated as we go along, but it is coming. And we're just lining up some interviews and stuff like that, kind of getting the format down, but everything is already up and ready to go. All we've got to do is hit publish, and so that should be coming soon. So just wanted to let you know that, and we'll be letting y'all know here on the Monday morning briefing video as soon as that is available.